my tuner out. Dead battery. I'm sharp. Always play the Martin, so I got the Gibson out. Ooh. Still not right. Yeah, I got the Gibby out. I can definitely tell almost all the time, not all the time, but almost all the time, if it's a Gibson on a recording. Like, if I'm listening to an old record, somebody's playing acoustic guitar and it's a Gibson, I can tell. If it's a more modern record and somebody's playing a Taylor, that's hard to tell. Hey, Forrest, good to see you. Martins just sound like guitars. So many of the guitars on recordings, particularly in the 50s, 60s, 70s, were Martins, that it's kind of almost hard to tell. You just if you guess Martin, you're probably going to be right. And so I've always said that, you know, a Gibson sounds like a Gibson, a Taylor sounds like a Taylor, but a Martin just sounds like a guitar. These are Elixir. Have I upped these yet? These look newer. These could be 13. These could be mediums. Yeah, I think these are nano because they're a little squeaky. Polys do tend to kind of flake eventually, but they also tend to be quieter, less squeak. What was I working on? And I noticed the squeak. Oh, it was actually on this, but I was plugged in. I wasn't miking. I was working on a project, and we were going for kind of a Nirvana Unplugged MTV vibe. Well, the ironic thing about it is those acoustics were plugged in. And so I was watching it again, just kind of watching a bit of a song just to remind myself of how they got that sound or what sound they got, actually. And I went, oh my gosh, okay. Funny, Nirvana Unplugged, but they're all plugged in. They've all got plug-in acoustic. Now, the cellist was playing with a mic, but everybody else was playing it with plug-in acoustic. So, you know what, Bronze? I don't know. Maybe the 80-20s? I should know this, huh? Elixir would like this if I knew this. If I had the pack that I'm using, like sitting right here so, you know, everybody could see or something, that might not be a bad idea. If you give me a second, I think... where did I put that box? I ordered a box recently, and I think that's what's on here. But I really don't remember. I mean, I could use any string. The thing I've always said I like about Elixirs is I have so many guitars, and again, not bragging. It's just if you're an auto mechanic, you have a lot more tools than I have. You have a lot more crescent wrenches, crescent wrenches than I have. So, hey, John. Yeah, it's warm. It's sunny here. It's not warm, but it's sunny. It's going to be sunny for the next 10 days or so. But the elixirs last so long. They last a lot longer than most other strings, especially if it's humid. I've got a lot of guitars that I may not pull. This guitar was probably in the closet for 6 months and I didn't play it. And I pulled it out and I didn't have to restring it. These are the last strings I put on it. So it's great. Now I've had it out of the closet for probably a month now. I'm planning on doing some videos. I'm hoping to get some videos done today. We'll see if I can get around to it. I've just been been a little slammed, and then I was sick, and I had family here. So let me see. I got to grab that just to have. We're at 101,000 subscribers. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's been December 22nd. It's almost been a month since I did my last video. So I want to do another Beatles video, and I want to do a Open G2 tuning video. I actually am thinking about doing 7 more tips for older beginners. I mean, why not, right? Why not try to capitalize on my most popular video by far and do a follow-up to that? And I came up with 6, so I need a 7th. But I'm not going to tell you what they are, or else you could just watch this video instead. Hey, Gary. Hey, Chris. What's going on? Clear coats. Oh, by clear coats are who? By who? I mean, I used to use Ernie Balls on electric. On acoustic, I can't even remember what I used to use. Whatever was cheapest. The problem was my hand sweat was so acidic it would just. Hey, Bruce, good to see you. They would just corrode like literally within an hour or two. So they were just not worth it. I mean, I would spend $60 on strings in the time that one set of elixirs would last. So I don't know who makes. You said clear coats. Oh, Martin's elixir version. Okay, yeah. I mean, I've had a relationship with elixir since they began. In fact, I was with them way back when the G string on the acoustic set would break like all the time. So what they had me do was they would send me free sets, and then I would send them. I would save like the broken ones, and almost always the G string would break, and I would send it to them, and then they would analyze why it broke and all that kind of stuff. So. I would, wait till I maybe had 2 or 3 or 5 G strings broken, and then I would send it to him. Oh, okay. That's all totally fine, Bruce. You're going to have to cover all the bases. It should be fine. I pinned the Discord link at the top there, so if you want to join the Discord, a lot of stuff's going on there. Bruce is doing he's building me a cigar box guitar, so you can see pictures of that. Anytime I do any kind of PDF or JPEG or anything like that, I will drag it into Tom's lesson plans and PDFs, and so you can see that there. Greetings from Germany. What do I think about all theory of guitar? I think, well, music theory is music theory. I don't know if there's anything specifically of guitar theory is any different than regular music theory. However, I have lots and lots of videos on scales and shapes and tunings, different tunings and things like that. So definitely guitar has its own whole set of ways, different ways to approach music than, say, for example, piano. Even violin and mandolin and cello and viola, those are instruments that are tuned in fifths. So the scales on those instruments are very symmetrical. But because guitar is tuned so weird, you got a fourth, a fourth, a fourth, a third, a fourth. You end up with scale shapes that are not symmetrical. And you can't just go, oh, okay, this is this scale, and this is this scale, and this is this scale. Just move around, and it's a little easier on a violin or mandolin to learn scales. I love playing like triads on mandolin. It's so fun. Guitar triads are, are hard. So it's like, but on a mandolin, that's actually a fairly easy thing to do. We're going to keep talking about songwriting. I'm kind of torn here. I was going to talk about, go back to kind of the beginning of chord progressions. And I may still do that, but we've been working through this list here. Woo, I did it right. I pointed it right. This list here. We've kind of been doing some of these things. These are all elements that are parts of a song, okay? And I put little C's after the elements that I would consider copyrightable, like melody. You can have a copyrightable melody, a copyrightable lyrics, unless the lyric is "I love you." Obviously, you can't copyright that. A hook is kind of a melody, but maybe not played, or maybe not sung, but played. Like that's a hook. At no point in Day Tripper do they sing that line, or that's the hook. That's actually, I think, the hook of Beat It. The chorus, oftentimes the hook, maybe I'd say 50% of the time, the hook of a song is the chorus. Or you at least want to make the chorus as hooky as possible. And the hook is the thing that pulls you in. The hook is, I always say, the hook is the thing that gets that 13-year-old girl to call the radio station and say, hey, can you play that song that says Ella, 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 hey, hey, hey. And that's the hook. Hey, Charlie B. Hey, AJ. Aslan. Boy, we have everybody's here. Still tuning here. And, but oftentimes the hook is a guitar riff, That's the hook of is that No Quarters? I forget. That's the hook of Black Dog. So, the riff is oftentimes the hook in rock music. Pop songs, the hook is often the chorus, but not always. The hook could be a lyric. That's rare, but the hook can be a lyric. I mean, maybe you could make the argument that the Ella, 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 which is the post-chorus hook, would be the most hooky part of Umbrella for Rihanna's song. And a friend of mine wrote that. Friends of mine wrote that song, and they also wrote "Single Ladies Put a Ring on It." So, they were doing pretty good 10 years ago. Those were big hits. So I was gonna talk more about harmony. We've talked a lot about harmony. I've got some different windows from songwriting things past. Like there I talk about the chords, and this is what I was going to kind of talk about more. But we're not going to do that yet. I mean, I may go back to that, or I may go to that later today. For lyrics, we were talking about lyrics, inspiration for lyrics, or even inspiration for just sitting down and writing a song in general. You can craft, and we talked about that a lot too. To create riffs, goofing off, record your goofing off, modify a simple idea, modify an existing idea, just jam and record it, and then go, oh wait, boom, right here. And I've done that before on sessions. I'm more careful about that now. Hold on, am I distorting? Sorry. I'm more careful about that now because I've had producers record me just jamming, and then they've taken my guitar, turned it into a hook, and didn't tell me, and then I didn't get any money from it. So that's not right. So don't do that to anybody. I'm not naming names. We started writing the song, and we kind of had this ABC thing. And one of the most important things we talked about too was when you're writing, you're kind of going to start out with your knowledge. And you're going to start out with stuff like, okay, I'm in the key of G, and I could go to the 4 chord. Okay, what do I hear next? No. So right there, that moment when I went from C to G, so I went G to C and then went back to G, that moment, it was knowledge. I know, okay, I know G is a chord that could work, but it's not what I wanted to hear. So the art will decide there. I went, no. Oh, that's what I want. Okay. And you may have to play the same section over and over and over again until you get what you want. Oh yeah, that's it. No, not D. Okay, so, you know, now I'm like, okay, now I gotta go back. A lot of times you maybe don't have to go back so far, but that's what I heard. So now there's my chord progression that I want to write over on top of, and so now it's a matter of I want to write a melody or a lyric. I've got, you know, it's to start to pull some of those things together. A lot of times, you know, people will ask me what comes first, the melody, the chords, the lyrics. I want to say chords, but a lot of times I think about now, I look at all my lyric books and I see a lot of, or my songbooks, and I see a lot of lyrics without any chords on them. And that tells me I had an idea for a lyric. And again, I haven't written, we talked about this many times, but I don't write complete songs so much anymore. I haven't done that in a long time. Back when I had a band, I was the main songwriter, so I wrote the lyrics and the melodies and the chords and everything, even the bass parts. Oftentimes even told the drummer what to do. That changed when I started working more with pop producers and I started collaborating. And back when I was writing 100% of the songs, I had pretty much zero success. But when I started to collaborate, that's when I started to see some success. Now I haven't had any hits, so I'm not teaching this from follow me as a hit maker. No, we're just talking about songwriting, and I'm just telling you the elements of songwriting, and almost as much as as an observer, and so oh, thank you, Bruce. Oh man, are we buffering? It just went down to red. I hope not. That would be a bummer. Well, there you go. Don Felder, Gary Book said Don Felder's jamming produced Hotel California. Literally one of the top 10 most played songs on the radio, I believe. Guten Abend. Okay. All right, good. Just for a split second, it buffered. Well, John, you know what I feel about keeping guitars in cases. Now, if you have 5 Taylors or 5 whatever, if you have a bunch of acoustics, and obviously some of them are going to be in cases, but at least have one out. Oh, okay. So John's asking, how this question has been answered many times, but how to get some idea of what key to write a song in. When do you throw a chord embellishment, like using the sus chords, etc.? A lot of times, John, the sus thing is just to taste, or if you feel like you're sitting on a chord too long. I mean, almost like those hammer-ons. When I went from C to take the second finger off and hammer it on, I'm making this is a C2 chord, and then this is back to C. So that's a sus as well. You could call that a sus too, but it's real. I just call it a 2 chord. We used to call them sus 2 chords. We used to call them add 9 chords too, but it's just C2 is so much faster to write. And so, but say. When I do it that way, okay, so the first way I was hammering on. That might be just, I would consider that a guitar player affectation. So if I go in the studio and I pull out, I give everybody a chart and the guitar player is playing the song, he might just do that. Like that as a little flourish in his part. That is player is going to probably, I would consider that kind of player option or player's choice, right? But if I wanted to hear that 2 chord longer, like that, now that's part of the writing of the song, I believe. That would come under the, that would be in the chart. It would say C, then C2 on beat 3. And it would say E minor, and then E minor 7, which is just play E minor and take off the second finger, or third finger, and you get E minor 7. And it kind of has that same sound. You're going E to D. So it's a little bit, maybe it's a little hookish. It's got a little bit of a hook. It might be something that grabs some people's ears and go, oh, I like that. It may not be the main hook of the song. Hopefully that you would have something a little bit more hookish than that. But there's a difference between that and like I said, that sounds like guitar player choice and less like intentional, here's what I want. And that might be something you might not do anything the first verse, but the second time after the first chorus, when you go back to the verse, you might do. So there's some delineation between verses. The second verse is a little bit busier than the first verse, that kind of thing. That way you kind of create a story arc to your song, so to speak. But that's dealing more in the way of production. Okay, that's almost like a production thing. So a producer might say, "Hey, would you do a hammer on there, a second verse? But don't do that thing you're doing there. That sounds great, but don't do it on the first verse. Play it straight on the first verse, and on the second verse, do that." And that would be like something a producer might say. Okay, now the other question, which I think is a very, very, very good question, is what key? Well, here's the thing about that. All right, let's say, and this is kind of my range. Let's say your range is like D to D. Okay, you have a 1 octave range like me. All right, I know people brag about, I've got a 27 octave range. I was like, I can't even hear 22 of those octaves. Oh, interesting. I did not know that Bruce composed all of Point of Run on piano. Well, it makes sense, though. It's not those songs are not particularly difficult. And a lot of times, if you're a good guitar player, learn from Bruce Springsteen. And I don't know that he's a particularly good guitar player, but let's just say you're a pretty good guitar player. And your problem is you tend to write songs that are like kind of flashy and guitar-y and very licky and kind of hard to write melodies over, or hard to sing over, or hard to play and sing at the same time if you're going to do that. Or they're just not very appealing to some people because, that's cool, but it's kind of flashy, you know. Then put your guitar down and sit down at the piano or write on piano. If you're not very good at piano, it'll force you to simplify. And I mean, Born to Run record, it's not very complex. A lot of 3-chord songs on that record. May even be some 2-chord songs on that record, if I'm not mistaken. So that is sometimes you have to kind of trick yourself into doing something. I've written a lot on piano. I loved the songs that I wrote early on when I was starting to write. I actually started out writing almost as much on piano as guitar, and I just loved it. I had a piano in my home growing up, so I could sit down, pretty much play a piano anytime I wanted. I was bummed that I wasn't able to bring it to California. It was my piano, my grandmother's, and then she gave it to me. I got it, inherited it, but I was never able to bring it out here. And it was a Steinway, and it needed like $40,000 worth of work. I kid you not. It's an $80,000 piano if it were new. You can still buy it. It's a Model C, I think. If you were to buy one new, I think it would be about $80,000. And so if I put $40,000 into this piano, it would basically look like a brand new Model C. And so I just couldn't justify it. The only upside to it was they would pick it up in Indiana, take it to New York, and do all the work, take 6 months, and then they would ship it anywhere I wanted. So I could have it shipped to California basically for free. For free if you consider $40,000 free. So, okay. So John, let's talk about key. Well, I'm talking to everybody here. Talk about a key of a song. All right. If you're writing a song, if the melody hasn't been written yet, you can write a song in any key. All right. If I say, okay, my range is D to D or C sharp to C sharp, if I can go down a half step more, then I should be fine. Okay, or if I'm in C sharp, it should be fine. If I can sing D to D, I should be able to sing C sharp to C sharp. Okay, or if you can, you should be able to do both those. All right, that should cover you in pretty much every key. Those right there, we've pretty much gone chromatically from C sharp to D. All right. So if I were to write a song in D, my melody, if I kept it between the Ds, would I actually like that. Right? That's all within from the D to D. Okay? Well, what if I went up a perfect fourth? So if I go up a fourth, if I were to sing that exact same melody, not going to happen, right? But you haven't written the song yet. So in the key of G, I could write a melody that was here that goes from D to D, but instead of D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, I would go D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C. Because I'm in the key of G, it's got a C in it. So I might go. Okay? So you would write a different melody in the key, but those two keys couldn't be further apart. I mean, the only way that those two keys could have been further apart is if I'd gone to A flat. All right, and that would have been a tritone apart. Tritone's technically the interval the furthest away from the original note. A fifth is, but a fifth is further. No, because a fifth is close to the octave of that original note. So that's only a fourth, but augmented fourth from here. Okay, so the most radical key change you could probably do would be going from D to A flat. Okay, so again, like I said, if I went to A flat, I could still sing a D over A flat, but it wouldn't be in the key of A flat. But I could D flat. You know, you can sing any melody. If you can sing a melody in your range in any key, it doesn't matter. If that makes sense. Yeah, but keep in mind, John, John's saying you'd have to have a real good ear to be able to delineate half step between keys. However, when you write a song, you're writing a song in one key. You're just hanging out in that key. So when you start messing around with it, let's see, what was this? Oh, funny. There's Yoko with her iPhone on the Beatles. Yoko filming. I love that shot. It looked like Yoko was filming John with an iPhone. She was putting it up on Instagram. She's always been very futuristic. Can I do something in B minor 7? Well, there's A, B minor 7. Here's another one. I can play up here. I can even do this. That's B minor 7 right there. If you just take the harmonics at the 7th fret, top 4 strings, you've got an A, a D, an F sharp, and a B. So what I was going to talk about, one of the things we haven't talked about yet is too much anyway, is meter. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about meters. I'm going to come up with a chord progression. Let's see. Let's just do. I'm going to go in G. I'm going to keep it simple. Sorry, Phineas, I'm not going to put a B minor in this. Oh, in the key of B minor. Yeah, B minor would be the relative minor to D major. So, you know, pop is often done in minor keys. Might do something like that in pop. Yeah, no, 7, so he meant B minor, not B minor 7. A lot of times when you hear that kind of thing, you hear A, like in this case A, and then like a sharp diminished. It's really implying F sharp 7 or the secondary dominant of the B minor chord. The F sharp 7, which is the 5 of the B minor. You hear that? It's just basically kind of another way of playing. It's a diminished chord. And so what I'm basically playing here is, like, you could go A7, which would be X02020 to A sharp or B flat, but I'd rather call it A sharp diminished 7, which is simple, actually. You just add a finger on the 5th string. It's kind of cool. It's a great. I love that change. Actually, I had a song that started on one of my most popular worship songs. It actually started on a diminished chord. And you can guess it was from the 90s. Using a C diminished chord. I don't know that I would use C diminished because it has a D sharp in it, and that might rub against the D natural of the B minor. But I like the sound of the A sharp or the B flat diminished to the B minor chord. Not bad. I can see where you might use that. Might use more like, I don't know. Anyway, let me talk about, though. I was going to talk about meter. So I'm going to come up with a progression. Well, okay, Phineas. I'll tell you what. I'm going to do a progression in the key of E minor. All right, let's do this progression. I'll make it a 5-chord progression. All right, I got to create a little text window here. All right, so our progression is going to be E minor to C to G to D, E minor, E minor to C, G to B7, and that kind of makes it a little bit of a pop progression, all right? Drag it down here. So that's our little chord progression for our little song here. All right. Now what I want to do is we're gonna talk about meters, different meters, okay? And you might think of meters as being strumming patterns, but they're really not, because each meter has dozens, hundreds, thousands of strumming patterns. Okay, but 4/4 is a meter is the most common. 3/4, 6/8. Oops. And 12/8. I'll show you. We'll work on all of those. Okay. All right, let me just make this a little smaller. Bring it down here, like this. Okay. And clearly, 4/4 is the most common. I would say after that, 6/8 is probably more common than 3/4. And talking about contemporary music, if you were talking about classical music, I would say 3/4 was probably more common than 6/8. 3/4 is a waltz. 4/4 is your boom, tap, boom, pat, boom, pat, boom, boom, pat, boom, pat. You know, rock, pop, boom, pat, pat, boom, pat, boom, pat, pat, right? So this is 4/4. Right? Oh, I didn't go to the B7, did I? Here we go, B7. Where would I play an E chord using harmonics? Well, I can get E's here, here, a B here, E here, B, E. There's your G sharp. So I might go. There's E. So I did bottom string, 4th fret, and then top 2 strings at the 12th fret. Or you go. That's, does that answer your question? Yeah, boom chucks, exactly. Well, and then if I wanted to go 3/4, 3/4, I could like. That would be like a fast 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And 3/4 almost always implies this kind of boom chuck chuck, boom chuck chuck. I think 3/4 could make a comeback and pop. You'd be surprised. I can hear it. 6/8 is always 6/8 is pretty common in pop, I think, too, or just it's a good feel. I don't know how common it is in pop, but so another 4/4 feel that I used to use a lot was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Kind of a hip hoppy shuffle kind of thing. Okay. 6/8 would be, and it could sound a lot like 3/4. It's mathematically it's kind of the same, but a lot of times 6/8 is more, kind of has more of a Celtic feel. Okay, so the 3/4 was like, but in 6/8 you would do like. You have all the 8th note subdivisions that you can kind of mess with, and that's one of the things I love about 6/8. I think I've got a whole playlist of strumming, but I think I did talk about 6/8. Let's see if I can find. Okay, strumming, here we go. Let me just take a look at this. If I can find one of the simple versus syncopated folk group. Yeah, I did a whole series on it. Lesson 2, there's a snare hit. Weird, I got that one in there twice. That's weird. Free range group, starting. What did I do with that lesson? I may not have. It's funny. I may not have included it. That's so weird. I'll figure it out. I'll find it. I'll find it later. Because I did a series not that long ago. No, that's not what I want to do. I did the Jack Johnson one, right? So John Lennon really liked 6/8, so I did that one. Yeah, this is what I want. Okay, so let's see. John Lennon's favorite strumming groove is 6/8. And I'm just a, that's just a, so yeah, so like the difference between 3/4 would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 6/8 would be like 1, 2. A lot of different ways. You've got 6/8 notes, so you can kind of mess around with them. You can go da 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 da. Or you can go down 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 down. You can make 6/8 sound like 2. Check this out. And that's just, you'll notice that what I'm doing is I'm hitting the down strum and then I'm hitting an up strum. And I'm keeping my arm moving. That's the key to doing strumming patterns. We've talked about this. It's always the #1 thing I say. Up. Okay, so now 12/8, there's a couple different ways I play 12/8. It depends on if I want a snare hit in it. If I want to do kind of a Latin 12/8, if I want to do like a blues 12/8, so like a typical shuffle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can count 12/8 in 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you would probably count it off like that if you were counting off a band. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, that's a typical 12/8 feel. The Chicago Shuffle. You might get rid of that middle triplet, middle note of the triplet. So into 1, 2, 3, you go 1, 3. See 1, 3, 1. Let's see. 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. Get rid of that too. And that's also 12/8. Do that with me. Start on E minor, go to C. And we're emphasizing the downbeats. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Again, E minor, 1, 2. Hey, Zach. Yeah, you're Chicago. You should know. Yeah. I'm probably doing it completely wrong. But we can get rid of that middle note of the triplet. Sorry, you can go. And that's kind of a different way of playing 12/8. It feels different. Now, another way I play, Zach, check this out. I don't know if you do this, but one of my favorite strumming grooves for years was this, where I'm doing a snare hit on 2 and 4. 1, but I couldn't do it on 12/8. And there was a song we did at church that was in 12/8, and From the Sunrise by Tommy Walker. And I kind of went, you know what? If I start 12/8 with an upstroke, then I have a downstroke on beat 4 and again on beat, what is that, 10. So if I start like this, and it was kind of a Peruvian kind of vibe. It's a great feel. And I can talk and do it at the same time. Where the meter would be applied, these different meters and different approaches. Like there's unlimited approaches for 4/4, and 3/4 has a bunch of approaches. 6/8 has a bunch of approaches. 12/8, I can think of at least two or three or four ways to do 12/8. When you apply these approaches to the chord progression, you can see where that would dramatically affect your melody ideas and your lyric ideas. Now, I've always made the argument that a good song could be done anyway. And I think, what was it? Who's the guy? Pat Boone did the heavy metal record with, heavy metal, like Nirvana done heavy metal, all these different, he did all these heavy metal songs, but he did them with a big band, right? He did all these heavy metal songs with a big band. If it's a good song, it could be done in all different styles, every style. If it's a good song, it should be like, wow, that's a great. I remember hearing When Doves Cry by Prince in Muzak, and it was then I realized there's no bass on When Doves Cry. It's the only #1 R&B song that doesn't have bass in it. I'm like, wait, there's no bass in that song. Prince was crazy. He would just do anything he wanted. That's one of the amazing things about Prince. That's why I like Prince so much, is because I really felt like he did those. Yeah, exactly, Zach. Yeah, you got to totally think about it at first, and then once you get going, and then let's see. So, well, how was that song? Something like that. Now till forever, I'll praise your name. Your name. Yeah, that was a fun song to do, actually. Once I got it down, I had to practice the crud out of that song. I get asked that a lot. How do you sing and play at the same time? And boy, that is a super duper tough question, because how did I do it? Fear. Because I needed the money. So I just kept taking worship leading jobs, because I worked at this church playing guitar, and they paid me $50 to play one service, and then the worship leader left, and they said, "Would you be the worship leader?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know." And they go, "Well, it pays $100." And I went, "Okay." So I doubled my salary. But then I had to learn to sing and play at the same time, which I could do a little bit, because I started out doing that mostly singing backgrounds in bands. So I would play guitar and sing harmonies or sing a background vocal part or something like that. And it was almost always to songs I wrote. Like when I was in a cover band in Indiana, they never put a mic in front of me. But once I was in my own bands and we needed more vocals and things like that, then I started to have to, kind of force myself to sing. And the first time I ever did it was in the studio where I was singing harmonies to a song that I wrote, and I wanted to hear these harmonies. And so I kind of worked it out by myself in the studio, just hit record and kept doing it till I got it. And then it was like, oh, okay, I can sing harmonies. Okay, I can do this. Okay, now let me practice playing the guitar part that I wrote with the harmony that I wrote. And it was just pure practice. I knew them both individually, and to bring them together just takes a minute. Again, like Zach said, once you get it second nature, the strumming groove, the chord progression is pretty easy in this song. It's a little hard when there's some syncopations in there. You kind of, it's easy to get thrown off. Fortunately, I had a whole band to kind of cover my tracks. So if you've got a band doing that, then you probably are going to be fine. Oh, thanks, Bruce. You got it. Okay, you beat me to it. But you can see where the different, okay, that pattern, that strumming pattern, that 12/8 variation for that chord progression almost makes you, lyrically, that sounds like a happy song, even though we're technically in E minor. If I were doing a 4/4 beat that was maybe the hip hop thing, that beat might be more of a sad song. Isn't that interesting? So my lyrics and my melodies would be affected by the strumming groove, even though it's the same exact progression. Now the tempos could be different. I could play the, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or I could do a 4/8 like in that tempo. Same as the 12/8 I was doing. I could do like an eighth note thing. Kind of a rock. And that, again, that's going to be a totally different feel then. And so it will inspire different lyric content. It'll inspire different melodies, but not necessarily. However, like I said, if it's a good song, if you write a good song over this, right? It's a simple progression, standard folk groove. And it's a big, massive hit. Say you write a giant hit over that. There's going to be Latin versions of it, Same melody and same lyrics, all these different styles. You could have a classical version, You could end up with someone doing a classical string quartet arrangement of your #1 hit pop song. A good song could be covered in all different styles, but that's after the fact. We're talking songwriting is before the fact. I don't know if I've ever heard. I don't know why we're getting. Thank you, Bruce, for doing that. I don't know why we're getting all these crazy. All of a sudden bots. I think once I've been online for, what has it been, an hour now? Almost an hour. That's when they start to show up, don't they? Bots are out there hunting the live streams. So yeah, and you might not come up with the groove that you're going to stick with. At first, you might end up writing your melody and your lyrics over one groove, and then later change the groove to a different groove. That's totally fine. It doesn't matter. The key is getting to that place of inspiration where you're inspired. Now, what about 5/4 or 5/8? What are some other ones? 2/4. I mean, 2/4. You rarely see music written in 2/4. It's pretty rare. 5/4. You know, obviously you've got Take 5 by Brubeck. Was it? Bit too long. What is it? No. Yeah. Talk about B minor. That's really an E minor, I guess. But the feel for 5, the way 5 is being played in that situation is 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 4, 5, 1, 2 and 4, 5, which is, I'm not sure. You know, I have to go in a time machine to go back and see how 5 was played prior to that, or if Brubeck was just like, okay, this is the way to do it. I mean, with that whole album called something like Out of Time, or because he had Blue Rondo a la Turk. So that was 9/8, I think. So it's 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. So what he was doing was he was breaking 9/8 into two different feels. He was doing 9/8 as a 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3. So if you add up 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 3, you get 9. And so that's what that melody is. And that's that variation of 9/8. And then the most common variation of 9/8 would be 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. So 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 9. It's so fun to play. Oh, is it? Oh, is it? Anyway, let's see. Oh, Gary, what did Gary say? Oh, I gotta read what Gary said. Hold on. I traded my first guitar for voice lessons. Trained with a lady from the Florentine Opera. Wow, here in Milwaukee. All I did was scales for her. Total concentration on tonation, intonation, and sustain. Interesting. And breathing, probably, right? And embouchure, the shape of your throat. I took one vocal lesson, and it was like he was telling me, smile from the back of your throat. I'm like, it's like taking a golf lesson, you know? It's like, he gave me like 10 things to think about when I sang, and I was like, oh, I'm never going to remember all this. But, you know, I was just being lazy. But the same thing with golf swing. Okay, keep this arm straight, tilt your shoulder, keep your legs at shoulder width, arch your back, blah, 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 do this, do that, but keep your head down. And you're like, how do I remember all this? And then you take a hit and it goes 3 feet and you're like, ah. So, let's see. Yeah, it's true. You do have lyrics to think about too. So when are we talking about singing and playing at the same time? Sam, let's see. Oh no, yeah. Yes, hum and whistle. Yeah, and here's the thing. Just take me and snippets, right? I'm big on snippets. And if you can get down, one little bar of the song, singing and playing, you can do the whole song. If you can get one bar, unless it's like, that one bar is like, and the rest of the song is like, and this chord's like, whatever. Never mind. That's not what I'm talking about. But if a song is a basic song, whether you get like practice that over and over again until you have it, until you can do the words, the melodies, and the strumming all at the same time. That's kind of a high song. Beatles stuff is going to be high. You can always transpose it down, but then add the next section, but it'll probably come a lot faster than that. Like you go, I spent 3 days getting down 2 measures of I Want to Hold Your Hand. Yeah, but once you get that, then the rest of the song will come much faster. It's kind of once you get that, what is it? Pat your head and rub your tummy at the same time. Once you get it, you got it. Okay? And that transfers to the next song. That ability that you put into the effort that you put into learning one song. I'm sure Gary could probably testify to this. Because he does a lot of performing live, and it's just second nature now. And a new song is always going to be a challenge. You have to learn the melody. You have to memorize the words, or at least if you read the words. I don't know if Gary, if you have words in front of you, right? Yeah, Sadie, that's awesome. Yeah, exactly. You can do, if it's a good song, it can be done in any style, right? Country. You could. There was a country heavy metal record, right? The bluegrass. What were they called? Hooked on Grass, I think. And they played like heavy metal songs in bluegrass style and sang them and everything. It was freaking amazing. I think they're called Hooked on Grass if you look them up. I think that's who it was. It was one of those. Thank you, Frankie. I know 101,000. A long way to a million. Don't know if we'll get there or not. I don't. I mean, I have to really become a video production mill if I wanted to get to 1 million. And I would have to really up my production game, like better miking, better mixing, better video quality, all that stuff. I definitely would have to up my game if I wanted to try to get to 1 million subscribers. And then I'm not even sure how I would get there without infringing on copyrights. I know Beato doesn't make money on a lot of his videos where he does what makes a song great. That's how he got known. That's why when he does his live stream, people give him money and stuff, and he always talks about, he sells books. That's his books are how he makes money. So I make money. I make a little bit of money from the videos. Okay, Sam, no worries. Dynamo's Rhythm Aces. Okay, let me pull that up, and for later. Um, I see them. Dynamo rhythm bass. Okay. Oh, it looks like rockabilly. So they're doing like rockabilly versions of different songs. Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. It's just so fun. And people that really dedicate their lives to one genre of music, it's just like, I love it. You know, they get the tattoos and they got the clothing, and then you see them when they're not gigging and they're still dressed the same way, and you're like, okay, all right, they made a lifestyle choice here. Yeah, I think that would be a great idea, Gary. I think you should do that. You could do some simple voice exercises. You could, if you have a piano, you could do the scale. I mean, here's the deal. There are people that have the scale exercises on YouTube. And chances are the ones that are the best, most viewed are going to be the cute girl ones. Or cute guy ones. But Gary, for people like us, that's what I've discovered. I'm not my analytics show that most of my audience is people my age. Okay, if I were to look at age, I'm kind of shocked. 8.6% is 18 to 24. So that's not bad. 13.8% is 25 to 34, and I know some of you are in that range. 15% are 35 to 44. 45 to 54 is 18%. My biggest is 55 to 64. Well, I'm 60, so that makes complete sense that my biggest percentage of my audience, 23% of my audience, is my age. That will almost be the case for everyone that does YouTube. It's probably true for Rick Beato because he's my age too. He's a year younger than me. Although he looks older, I think, right? I don't know. I look pretty old. And now the female-male ratio. See, the drag is yeah, we're missing some of the females, but yeah, I'm only 11.8% female, 88.2% male. So you add it up and it equals 100. So that's good. Yeah, Aslan definitely helps my age. Yeah, Aslan's like 18 or 19, I think, right? Oh, Jay, you're 72. Well, see, you're in that now. That 65 and over is 21%. So between 55 and up, that's almost represents 50%, 44% of my viewership. It's fascinating. Google and YouTube are really good. I feel like they're very, very generous with these analytics, and I use them. I do use them. This is what's amazing too. Watch time from subscribers. 90% of the watch time on my videos is from non-subscribers, which is interesting. So what am I doing wrong? Or are they becoming subscribers at the end of the video or something? But what am I doing wrong? But it's not so much, that number is not so much an indicator of something I'm doing wrong. It's something that YouTube is doing right. And that's getting me in front of non-subscribers, which is huge because I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. There's no way for me to do that. So, wow. Okay, we got a lot of 7-year-olds here. AJ, you're 17. Wow. That's crazy. Art Bloomer, you're 72 also. That's funny. Jan, I had no idea you were 73. Huh. Well, some of the ladies are chiming in here. And Charlie is also 72. Wow, that's funny. Yeah, I need to do that Zoom thing again, don't I, Bruce? Well, we'll wait till Holly is. Well, maybe next week. Remind me, and we'll get Holly. Holly, we'll organize it and put it up on the Discord. So put the link up on Discord, and then we can do a YouTube thing. Oh, Renee, Good to see you, Renee. Yeah, so 51. I remember 51. That wasn't that long ago. Yeah, I don't feel 60. I mean, sometimes I think like the first 5 minutes of every day that I'm awake, I feel 60. After that, once I get my coffee, Bruce, you're 75. Wow, that's amazing. And you've only just begun. We've only just begun to live. Jake is back. I'm a subscriber, 63, and a terrible guitar player. Well, you know, we're accepting of everyone here. I try to keep things fairly simple. You look at the chords, E minor, the chords that I put in our little song chord progression there, little pop progression, E minor, C, G, and I'm not playing the 5th string. So really, this is a G5 because there's no B in here. I got a G, nothing, or should be dead. You don't want that to ring out. Open D, open G, D, G. Oh, AJ, that's funny. Sadie's still 49. Yeah. Charlie feels 102. Yeah, I can totally relate to that. First hour of the day, I don't know what it is. It's like, oh my gosh, can I just stay in bed? But that doesn't feel good either. Laying in bed and being awake, I don't like that. I got to get up. Yes, Carpenter's. Jan betraying his age. Karen Carpenter had one of the most beautiful voices. I actually saw she's buried at Forest Lawn in Hollywood, in kind of Glendale, Hollywood. Right, Forest Lawn Cemetery is kind of on the same hill that, like the Greek theater's on the other side, on the Hollywood side, and on the back side of that is like on the way down to Burbank and Glendale and stuff. There's a zoo up there. There's a train thing. There's all sorts of stuff on this hill. It's great. In the Hollywood Hills right there. There's also, Griffith Park Observatory, which is in a bunch of movies. It's in the beginning of Terminator. And so that's, if you come to LA, you got to go to Griffith Park at night. That's Griffith Park Observatory at night if you can. It's really, really fun and cool. I don't know if you can drive up there anymore or if you have to take a bus. You have to pay to get up there. It's been a while since I've been up there. But whenever I would have visitors, I would always take them up there. And it's on the top of the hills between Hollywood and the valley. And so you look one way and you see Hollywood in Los Angeles. And on a clear day, you can see all the way to Catalina Island. And then you look the other way and you see the valley, and where I live in the North Valley, you can see all the way on a clear day, all the way to my house. So, and further. And that's one of those things, the Griffith Park Observatory, it's kind of iconic for California. It's almost like if they've got some kind of graphic about Los Angeles, it's almost always in it. That and the Hollywood sign. And during the day, you can see the Hollywood sign from Griffith Park. Actually, you can kind of see the side of it, which is kind of cool to see it from an angle instead of like straight on like you see it in the movies and TV shows and stuff like that. So, okay. Thanks, Joseph. Yeah, Rainy Days and Mondays, very good. There's so many great songs. A lot of it was, a lot of the Carpenter songs, were written by other people. Paul Williams wrote a bunch of their songs. Did Burt Bacharach, who's one of my favorite writers. Paul Williams was a great writer, or is. I mean, he's still alive, I think. Let me look up. She just had such a beautiful voice, and the funny thing is that I really think Billie Eilish is discography. Here we go. Let's see, Carpenter's 71, Close to You. So I'm just curious of who. track listing here, the writers of the songs. Yeah, Roger Nichols and Paul Williams. Roger Nichols, American composer, songwriter. Ralph Carmichael. Both secular and contemporary Christian. Interesting. They did Help. Oh, funny. Help is on that album, so let it. Oh, yeah. Close to You is Burt Bacharach. Okay. We've Only Just Begun was Paul Williams. Baby It's You was Burt Bacharach. Yeah, that was a cover. That was somebody else. Yeah. But I think They Long to Be Close to You was written for the Carpenters, whereas Baby It's You was written by the Shirelles, or recorded by the Shirelles, and the Beatles recorded that too. That's funny. I forgot that they did a Burt Bacharach. So, and then Bettis, our Carpenters. So who's Bettis? John Bettis, a lyricist. Okay, so he wrote a lot of the, and Richard Carpenter wrote a lot of songs, but most of Richard Carpenter's songs weren't hits, at least not on this record. Let's go to the next record. So, the Carpenters 71 record. I've always been, since I was a kid, a credits reader. So Rainy Days and Mondays, that's Roger Nichols and Paul Williams. That sounds like a Paul Williams song. Oh, Leon Russell and Bonnie Bramlett wrote Superstar. That's interesting. Many hits for many people, but it was, and Luther Vandross did it too. Yeah, Superstar's a great song. I did that in a show once. For All We Know, from the movie Love Is... I don't know any of these people. And at a certain point, A Song for You, I'm not sure when things started to go south. Now, she died of anorexia, which was so sad. That's just a horrible, sad thing. Song for You, Top of the World. Top of the World. Now, that one was written by John Bettis and Richard Carpenter. But that one's not really one of their best songs. I mean, it's cute, but it's not great. I Won't Last a Day Without You was written by Paul Williams. Roger Nichols must have written the lyrics. Well, maybe not. Maybe Paul, I don't know. It's going to Take Some Time. I don't know that one, but Carole King wrote that. Goodbye to Love. Oh, that was also written by Richard Carpenter. And it's interesting because you look at it has the band credits too. You got members of the Wrecking Crew. Louis Shelton on guitar, record producer and guitar player. Red Rhodes. Red Rhodes played pedal steel on that album. He worked on my amps. He repaired one of my amps. Buddy Emmons on pedal steel too. Joe Osborne on bass. He was part of the Wrecking Crew, and Hal Blaine played on a billion things. He just passed away. So a lot of Tim Weisberg of the flute player, played bass flute on it. So interesting. I love having all the credits. Now and then, were there any hits? See, I don't remember that record at all. Let's see if they had any hits. Sing? No, it was. Yeah, this one, Jambalaya on the Bayou Hank was. So it looks like mostly covers or something. LP featured 3-panel cover, full out, so Downey, Oh, the three other, their house in Downey, they were from Downey. That's hilarious. I don't even know where Downey is. It's in LA somewhere. But okay, this album was Horizon, I think, had a hit on. Only Yesterday, Desperado. So that was a cover. Please, Mr. Postman, another cover. So a lot of covers. Neil Sedaka, Solitaire. Yeah, so it's so sad. Yeah, she was great on drums. Yeah, that's right. She played other instruments too. Although on the records, I think they let session players play. The Wrecking Crew was a big, played on the Carpenters. Wrecking Crew is part of the reason why I moved to LA, was to be part of that group. Now and they didn't call it the Wrecking Crew when I moved out here, but it was like, particularly in the 60s and 70s, Beach Boys, Mamas and Papas, anything produced by Phil Spector was going to be, Sonny and Cher, even Frank Sinatra, Nancy Sinatra. These boots were made for walking. There's a movie called The Wrecking Crew you can check out. I don't know where it's at now, but it's a documentary that Tommy Tedesco, who was one of the members of The Wrecking Crew, his son made this documentary. It was originally started to be like this. He was just kind of filming his dad talking about all the old days. And then he goes, you know what? I need to do a whole documentary. So it's actually his first movie. I don't know if he's ever made another one. Let's see. Hal Blaine, are you here? Yeah, there you are, Hal. Wrecking Crew. Hal Blaine, it's hilarious. A giant drum set with a mic on every tom. Oh yeah, he's on so many songs. And then yeah, Hal Blaine ended up as John Denver's drummer, so he kind of toured with Hal Blaine. I mean, he toured with John Denver for kind of the peak of John Denver's years. Let's see, the documentaries. Here it is, 2008 film. Okay, so by Denny. See, yeah, Denny doesn't even have a link on YouTube, on Wiki. So I don't know that he's ever done another movie. But anyway, you can check that out. It's actually really. Well, here, let me see. I can tell you what streamers I can see it on. Oh, did you look over the True Friend on Discord? Oh no, I haven't. Is that about a spider? I'm not going to play it now, but I'm going to pull it up. It's on the Discord. So Gary, Rebel Without a Cause, yeah, Rebel Without a Cause was definitely. So you went there in '93. You were you were a young pup. You were a 20-year-old back then, Renee. That's awesome. Okay, your own stuff. New Dawn. Oh, Carol. Okay, something I've been working on. Okay, Steve Barry. True Friend. Okay, I see it. I got it. Okay, I'll pull it up, Gary. So I'm not gonna do it now, obviously, but I got it. I got the window up, so I'll check it out. Yeah. Sadie, yeah, that's the album I'm talking about. It's great. I mean, I love that kind of stuff. So Pat Boone did a record, and check it out. I'll pull it up here. He just passed away, right? Didn't he just pass away? No, is he still alive? Oh, he's still alive. He's 87. Okay. Let's see, Discography. Where's Discography? Here we go. Okay. Multiple. Yeah, he's got a lot of records out. In a Metal Mood. No More Mr. Nice Guy. I love it. Oh, the cover is great. Oh my gosh. So funny. Because here's a Christian guy, you know. But Judas Priest, You've Got Another Thing Coming. Smoke on the Water. It's a Long Way to the Top If You Want to Rock and Roll by AC/DC. Panama by Van Halen. That the orchestra, the big band arrangement on Panama is freaking great. It's a great arrangement. No More Mr. Nice Guy by Alice Cooper. Love Hurts originally. Oh, I didn't realize that was originally an Everly Brothers song. See, I knew it as the Nazareth song. Enter Sandman. Holy Diver by Dio. Paradise City by Guns N' Roses. That's actually a really cool arrangement. The Wind Cries Mary by Hendrix. Crazy Train. That's also a good arrangement. Stairway to Heaven. That's a hard one to do with a big band. And I don't remember it, so it must not have been that good of an arrangement. But there are at least three arrangements on there that it's the star of that record is the arranger. And I wouldn't be surprised if Pat Boone. It's funny. It's got 1 rating on AllMusic. I should get two stars. I should give it a 5-star rating. Richie Blackmore played on it. Mitch Holder, Dweezil Zappa, Michael Thompson, all played guitar on it. Let's see. Tom Scott played, Gary Herbig played sax. Classic, all these, Plas Johnson. Yeah, all the classic Torn players. These are all the best guys in town. Marco Mendoza played bass, and Greg Bissonette played drums. That makes sense. What a great record. Sheila E. played timbales. Lenny Castro played percussion. It's really fun. Like, I know most of these people. I've worked with a lot of these people, so we're not Richie Blackmore. I met Dweezil a couple times. I know Michael. I've worked with Michael Thompson. You wouldn't know who he is. Ronnie James Dio is on this too. Funny. So, who did the arrangements though? Yeah, Steve Lawrence and E. Gourmet did Black Hole Sun on another record. Lounge-a-Palooza, that's funny. Paul Anka did one, Rock Swings. Wait a minute, who did the arrangements though? Weird. I'm not seeing. To me, that's the star of this record, not Pat Boone, but the whoever did the arrangements, because there's a lot of leeway taken to make them into big band songs. You can't just do direct note for note takedowns and go, okay, the trombones are going to play the bass part. No, it doesn't work that way. You really got to come up with its own thing. So, your Native American name is Dances Like Tree. No spiders. Okay, this is a gala fundraiser. I'm gonna try to dance to. Okay. So yeah, you need to do you should do like a lyric video of that song, or you need to do like a dance video for that song. Yeah, Pat, the Enter Sandman. Oh, you just did it just now. That's funny. I thought you meant like you in order to get rid of a roommate, you. Yeah, Sam. It was sad. So I'm trying to remember, but the cemetery, like I said, is Forest Lawn, and there's a bunch of Forest Lawns, but this one is the one that's I don't know if it's called Forest Lawn Hollywood. It's technically, I don't know. It's on the other side of the Hollywood Hill from Hollywood. It's on the north side of Hollywood Hill, because like LA is kind of divided by this row of hills, and on like one side you've got Beverly Hills, on the other side you have Woodland Hills, and so it's like, you've got Hollywood on one side and you've got North Hollywood on the other side. So it's kind of like this hill kind of divided up. You drive over the 405 goes over the hill. When we had Carmageddon, that was when they closed the 405 for like a week or something. It turned out not to be such a big deal because everybody just said, we'll just stay home and work. But yeah, so like if we were to do a jazz, let's take this progression and how would I make it jazzy? Well, immediately I would probably add seventh chords, all right? So instead of playing E minor, I would play E minor 7, okay? Instead of C major, I might play C major 7. Instead of G, I might play G major 7. And instead of D, I might play D7. Now, here's the thing. Pop right now is a lot of major seventh chords. Major sevenths and minor sevenths are very common in pop right now. So if I were to play with bar chords, I might do something. But this D7 sounds a little too weird. I might go to D6. Or I just go to pure D or D2. But if I want to do like a more of a pure jazz thing, you might. Something where you're getting more. you know, if you were to take it into jazz, you would add sevenths, and then you might add some altered notes. Altered notes are flat 5, sharp 5, sharp 5, sharp 9, flat 9. So those 4 notes are the altered tones. So you don't have to use all of them. You can just use one of them. So if I play, say for example D7, if I play D7 with a sharp 5, that's an altered chord. If I flat the 5, that's an altered chord. D7 flat 5. Let's do it with A. It's easier with A. Play this with me. See if you can play this. All right. We're getting off on a tangent here, but this is A. This is a way to play A7. All right. So nothing on the bottom string. We're going to play the 5th string open on all of these, and then we're going to play 5, 6, 5, 5. Okay. So that's all right. All right. So we have a root. We have a flat 7. We have a 3rd, a 5th, and another root. All right. So in analysis, we have nothing. We have a root, we have a flat 7, we have a 3rd, a 5th, and another root. All right? That's analysis. Hey, Holly! Holly, what up? Getting my female count up from 11.7% to 11.8%. Okay, so that's the analysis. Root, flat 7, 3, 5, root. You don't need to understand it necessarily. Okay, but now let's make this an we're going to make it, you can play it either way. We're going to make it an A9 chord. Okay, so we have A9 is going to be like this. A9, X0, 5, 6, 5, 7. All right? Play that chord for me. It's a bar chord, but it's a little bar chord. You know, I don't think you could play it with, maybe you could play it with 4 fingers if you really wanted to. But we're not going to stay here. Okay, so the analysis of this, okay, is the same as the one above, the analysis above, except the top note is the 9th. Okay, we're going to call it a 9th, not a 2nd. I'm going to just humor me here. We're going to call it a 9th. So 0, I'm sorry, that's a root, then a flat 7, then a 3, 5, and a 9. That's the analysis of that note, that chord. Okay, this is where. This is important for this kind of case. We're talking about altered chords. When somebody says, oh, play an altered chord. What's an altered chord? An altered chord is, like I said, any dominant 7th chord with a raised or lowered 9th or raised or lowered 5th, and or. It could be and or. You could, on piano, you could do a A7, flat 5, sharp 5, flat 9, sharp 9. You could totally play that. And it would be basically like, oops. It would be all of those notes played at once. A lot of clustery kind of sound. Okay, I've actually seen that chord. I've seen sharp 5, flat 5. So if I wanted to, I don't even remember. To be honest, how would I do that? It just doesn't, you know. Something like, you know, it's just not fun. But we're gonna do some. We're gonna take this and I'm gonna show you how to create a bunch of different altered chords like that. Okay, so that's our chord now. Okay, 0, nothing on the bottom. Don't play the bottom string. So open A string. Take off that bottom string. Don't take off that. A, and then 5th fret, 6th fret, 5th fret, and 7th fret. And you can play that with your pinky, or it doesn't really matter because we're not going to stay there. Okay. The thing I want you to do is now I want you to play these top 2 strings. 5th fret, 5th fret, right? And 7th fret. You got that? Oh man, you got to get back to work. Oh man. Okay, timestamp this. We're about an hour and a half in. So Catherine, later you can go an hour and a half in. Okay, so this is the 5th. All right. So if we were to have a 9th and a 5th, if we wanted a flat 5th and a 9th, we'd just flat it. That would be a flat 5th and a 9th. There's a 5th and a 9th, and there's a sharp 5th and a 9th. Okay? So now you have to try to do that with here. So if I wanted an A9 with a flat 5, a great chord. Isn't that a beautiful chord? If I I wanted A9 with a sharp 5, take that up. Actually, this is like this is the chord your hand was made to play. This is the most comfortable chord you could ever play, I think. It just feels so good. Okay, so check this out. This is going to get insane, but so A9 flat 5 is X0 5 6 4 7. Okay, A9. I think I did a video on this. Sharp 5 is X0 5 5 6, same bottom. So we're only changing, and then we have 6 7 like that. Okay, we're only changing one of, or in some cases we may go both of these top chords. Okay, so we have, here's A7 flat 5, A9 flat 5. Here's A9 sharp 5. Okay, let's go back to A9. So what if we wanted A9 flat 5, or I'm sorry, A7 flat 9? That's A7 flat 9. So we take that 9 and we flat it, and that becomes, and you can play it like this. I probably would play it like this, like a diminished chord on top of an A note. And so A7, I love that no one's typing. That means everybody's trying to play these. Flat, oh sorry, A7 flat 9. And when you say A9, it implies there's a 7th in there, okay? So that's why I don't say A7 add 9 sharp 5 or something. You say A9, that implies a dominant 7th, okay? So A7 flat 9 would be this, 0 5 6 5 6, like that, okay? And now, can you figure it out? A7 sharp 9 would be, get this pinky out there, and that's kind of it's the same chord as that. Okay, and you can really hear it. Here's the third there still. We haven't changed these two notes, and we got that fifth, but you can hear that dissonance between the third and the sharp 9. The sharp 9 is 1 fret away from the third. Very dissonant. But in context, it still sounds dissonant, but take care, David. So the A7 sharp 9 all right, A7 sharp 9 would be X0 5 6, like it has always been, 5 and 8. Right? Make sure before I hit send. Okay, now is when it gets fun, because now we can combine those sharp 5s and flat 5s with the sharp 9s. Flat. So let's say we did, here's our, go back to your A9. Now here's the other thing. You only really need to play the top 4 strings. Bass player is going to be playing the A note, right? Now if you're playing a flat 5, you might want to flat his 5th in his bass line, but I turn it, you can turn these things into kind of like exercises. But basically, so if I were to take the 5 and the 9 and flat them, I'm just going to go like this. So take these two notes. Here's the 5th and the 9th. Exactly, Andrew. Hey, Andrew, how's it going? I still got to reply to your friend's email. I'm going to set up a Zoom chat. In fact, I was going to talk about that too. But okay, go down a half step on both of them, and so you get you're flattening the 5th and you're flattening the 9th, and then you put your 7th and 3rd in there and play the A and the bass, and that's A7 flat 5 flat 9. Sounds complex. Not that complex to play though. A7 flat 5. You put the 5 before you put the 9. Flat 5 flat 9. Okay, and that is X and then 0 5 6 like it always has been, and then 4 6. All right. All right. What if we did? Let's stick with the flat 9. Let's go to sharp 5. that would be this. So A7, sharp 5, sharp, oh, yeah, or flat 9, sorry, flat 9. You can start to figure these out yourself. You don't need me anymore. You don't need me. Be 5, 6, 6, 6. Okay, so this must be the devil's chord. Okay, and you can play it. I would just play it like that. It looks like an E flat 9. In fact, if I put an A, if I did this E flat 9 chord and put an A in the bass, I have an A7. Okay, with a flat 5, a sharp 5, and a flat 9. So we talked about sometimes you can have the flat 5 and the sharp 5 in an altered chord. That's more common on piano. Guitar's a little hard, but here's technically one way you could play it. It's kind of a muddy chord. I probably would never play that. Maybe if I was doing solo guitar arrangement, I might do something like that, but not likely. Okay, but anyway. This is that chord, the A7. You will always need me. A7, sharp 5, flat 9. Okay? Now, if I wanted to sharp the 9, I do that. And that looks like, to me, an E flat 13 chord. This one might be the hardest one of all of them to play, but it's a pretty chord. Actually, no, the hardest one is the next one. But this one would be A7, sharp 5, sharp 9. We have one left in this kind of iteration. See if I don't know if you can guess it or not. 0. What did I do? 0, 5, 6, 6, 8. Okay, that's what this one is. These are good, great little. Again, you're like, well, what if I want to do B flat 7, sharp 5, sharp 9? Well, just take it up a fret and don't play, you could bring your thumb around if you wanted to. You could do that. But just don't play the A open A string. And a lot of times when you're doing this, you got that sharp 9 up on top, right? You can go from that one to the flat 9 one, and then to D major 7. It's a very common. Okay, see what happened there? So this is A7 with a sharp 5 and a sharp 9. Remember, we took those two notes and we took up. There's the 5 and there's the 9. Up 1 fret each. All right. We ended up with this chord. And then I take my pinky off and I got the third finger or second finger barred here and I'm hitting the 6th fret. And then that leads, the altered chords lead to ultimately leading to a 1 chord or a minor 1 chord or whatever. They're like, they act as 5 chords. So they want to go somewhere. And usually, like A altered wants to go to a D major chord. D major 7 sounds great. I could even go, if I wanted a more complex thing, I could do the flat 9 to the sharp 9 and then go up to and play D major 7. And that sounds neat too. Here we go. I'll do that. Drop D. But yeah, so you're having fun with that. You're having fun with those altered. And what's funny about that melody right there, 3 of those 4 notes are not in the key of D. Remember, this is the 5 chord of D. We're in the key of D here. Those are almost all altered notes. I got a flat 9, sharp 9, flat 9, sharp 5, 7th of the A7, and then, or you can do that. But anyway, okay, now, the hardest one we haven't done, it was the only one we haven't done yet. We did the flat 5, flat 9, we did the sharp 5, flat 9, we did the sharp 5, sharp 9, but we haven't done the flat 5, sharp 9. And so remember, here play our 5th. Here's our 5th of our A chord, and here's the 9th of our A chord. And I want to flat this and sharp this, so you're going to have to do that. Okay, and get the 7th in there, and the 3rd. That's the hardest one. could even do. I could do flat. I could go from A7 flat 9, flat. I'm sorry, A7 flat 5 sharp 9. I'm going to write this out in a second. Just give me a second. To A7 with a flat 9 sharp 5, like that. That's kind of cool. I don't know how if they make more sense on piano, but they kind of make sense on the guitar when you visualize that 5th and that 9th, okay? So the last one that we have was A7 with a flat 5 and a sharp 9. And that required a bit of a stretch. So nothing on the bottom string, then we have open, we have 5, 6 like we always have, then 4 and 8. So that's where that 4 to 8 stretch is what makes it a little bit more difficult. And again, if I wanted to go B flat, sharp, what is this, flat 5, sharp 9, I would just go up a fret, but I wouldn't hit the A string. Or if I went B, do the same thing. But you just have to visualize that. If you visualize the C7 chord, you visualize this, you play the top 4 strings, get that 9th on top. Now you got, there's both sharp 5, sharp 9. Here's just the sharp 9. Here's just the sharp 5. You could do the flat 5 and a 9. You could do the flat 5 and a flat 9. You could do the flat 5 and sharp 9. You know, it's cool when you realize you just altered chords is just messing around with these two notes. You know, here they are normal. Here they are both sharp. Here they are normal, here they are both flat. I'm glad so now that's with this voice, okay? So that's A, okay? I'm gonna blow your freaking mind again, okay? You wanna check this out. Sorry, I'm just being a weirdo. Okay. Remember on the A, we had the 5th on the 2nd string and the 9th on the 1st string, right? Boy, this is off point, is it not? Oh my gosh. Well, we're talking about jazz arrangements or doing arrangements, which comes under here, arrangement, style. I didn't put style in here, but what would style come under? Genre, same thing. I could change this to say genre/style. Okay, so I'm sorry. Let's get back to the A chord. Here's the A9. Okay, again, I'm playing open A string here. Okay, and then I got the top. The 5 of the chord is on the 2nd string, and the 9 of the chord is on the 1st string. Well, guess what? On this form, okay, on this bar chord form, and this D9 here, the 9 is on the 2nd string, and the 5 is on the 1st string. So if I want to go 9 and 5, I got this. If I want to go flat 9, flat 5, I go here. If I want to go sharp 5, sharp 9 there. If I want sharp 9 and a flat 5, I go like that. If I want to go flat 9 and sharp 5, okay? So for this chord, if I want to go D, here's D9, okay? D9 is nothing, and then 5, 4, 5, 5, 5, all right? And the important thing to see here is on the D9 is that you have nothing, you have a root, 3rd, flat 7, then you have the 9th, and then the 5th. That's the key. You want to see where that 9th and 5th are. You want to see where that 9 and that 5 are. Once you figure out where the 9 and 5 are, now you can flatten them and sharpen them to your heart's content. So if I wanted, say, D7 flat 9, then I just go nothing, and then I go 5, 6, or 5, 4, 5, 4, 5. Boom, there's D7 flat 9. Now, if I want to go D7 sharp 9, instead of taking that 2nd string note down to 4, I go up to 6. And I end up with this. I wouldn't play the top string. Because A, it's almost impossible. and B, people want to hear that sharp 9 on top. In fact, if you play the flat 9, you can just play it that way. You don't have to play the top string. But the sharp D7 sharp 9, which is kind of the Jimi Hendrix chord. Everybody thinks Jimi Hendrix when they hear it. I'm going to put an X though here, just because that's just the most common way to play it. Like in E, it's there, but in D. Okay, so we took that ninth and up. Okay, now what if I wanted a D9 with a flat 5? So I'm just going to take this. I'm going to go from this to this on top, and everything else stays the same, which requires manipulation of fingers. But D9 flat 5, oops, flat 5 would be X, and then 5 4 5 5 4, like that. I'm trying to get this Resciato down that Alex, my son, can do, but I can't. For some reason, I can't get this one down. It's just weird. It's like a brain fart. Okay, so that's a D9 flat 5. If I want a D9 sharp 5, then I do the D9 chord like this. I always call it the ninth chord. That particular voicing, I call that the James Brown chord. I always think I can hear the horn section playing all those notes. So all the different horn players playing all the different notes. Okay, but if I want the sharp 5, then I just put my pinky up here in front of everything and get that. So that one's a bit of all these. The D's are, I think, more of a handful than the A's. But the nice thing about the D ones, they're movable. So without changing anything, you can move. So D9 sharp 5 would be bump, and then 5 4 5 5 6 like that. Okay. All right. Now we've done the sharp 5, the flat 5, the flat 9, the sharp 9. Now we can start to combine those. So check this out. If we were to do D7 with a flat 5, flat 9, it would be this. 5 4 5 4 4. You're just going to take those top two notes down. And again, so unlike the A chord, the D versions of these are completely movable. So this is D7 flat 5 flat 9. This is E flat 7 flat 5 flat 9. This is E7. I could hit the E on there if I wanted to. E7 flat 5 flat 9. Here's F7 flat 5 flat 9. Here's C7 flat 9. Flat 5 flat 9. The B flat 7 flat 5. If I just do 1 0 1 0 0, that's B7 flat 5 flat 9. And again, remember the D is a 5 of G. So this wants to go. So if I go do D7 with a sharp 9, and then D7 flat 9, and then G major 7. That's a beautiful. It's the same thing when we did. Or I could do the opposite. I could go flat 9 to the sharp 9, and then make G major 7. I'm trying to make this interesting and simple. It harmonically, if we were to analyze things, it can get really complex. Oh, the flat 9 wants to go to the blah blah blah. I'm not going there. I'm just saying, look, if you can find where the 5 and a 9 are, in the case of D9 chord, they're right here. So if this is D7 flat 9 flat 5, then if D7 flat 5 flat 9, then D7 sharp 5 sharp 9 would be this. So we're going to play that D sharp 9 chord, the Hendrix chord, and just lay the pinky down. And then, right? Or whatever. All right, so let me write that one out. So I did the flat 5, flat 9. Class. Right? Yeah, you're all like... As we call amigo. As my eyes glaze over, amigo. So now we have D7, sharp 5, sharp 9. And again, these are called altered chords. Literally, sometimes you will see D7 altered or D7 ALT written on a chart. And so in other words, it's dealer's choice. They're not saying D7, sharp 5, sharp 9, which is what I'm writing out right now. Right? Yeah. They're not saying that. They're saying, well, do any of them. Any of them are fine. So I could play that. I could play this. If it, I could do both. We're gonna do. And here's the thing. With the D9 one, it's a little bit easier than the A7 one. Remember the A7 with the flat 5 and the sharp 9 was this, right? That one is going to be like this. In the D9, it's much more compact because the 9 is here, the sharp 9 is here, and the flat 5 is there. So that's all we're doing. Before we had to go like this, from here to here, but now we're going from here to here. Right? Did I say flat 9 sharp? No, the other way around. That. So we're getting, okay. So let's do D7, flat 5, sharp 9, and that's this. And you can figure these out yourself if you just think for 1 second. Okay, which one's the 5, which one's the 9? Okay, I'm going to flat the 5, I'm going to sharp the 9. So I'm going to end up with 5, 4, 5, which is the beginning of all of them, right? 5, 4, 5 is the beginning of all of them. And then we want a flat 5, a sharp 9, which is going to be 6, and a flat 5, which is going to be 4. And this one's a lot easier than the other one. And again, you're learning 12 chords with each one of these. So with all these Ds here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 so far. I'm going to do one more. I'll do one more. That's 10. You're going to learn 120 chords. Just right there. Like Sam says, everybody's like, oh. Yeah. That's funny. Oh, good. No snow. Well, that's good. That makes life a little easier. Especially when it melts and then there's no snow. It's a drag if it stays under 32 all the time so the snow never melts, but the roads are clear, but there's just snow everywhere. I mean, I guess that's kind of beautiful, but I want to say I miss it, but I kind of can't say that. I don't know. We talk about leaving California. Everyone's leaving California. We talk about it. Okay, so what's left? Sharp 5, flat 9. We haven't done that one. So D7, sharp 5, flat 9. I'm going to wrap up here in a little bit. Okay, so that's the last one, I think. Let me know if I forgot one. And that would be 5, 4, 5, and then we want a flat 9, so that's going to be 4, and a sharp 5, that's going to be 6. And there it is. And that one actually feels really good in the hand. That's not difficult. And that's nice too because you got that 5 on top. You can go sharp 5, flat 5. You can be chunkier if you want and have the sharp 9, flat 9 thing going. Oh shoot! I know. I should do. I wasn't expecting to do this. Holly's not going to do a handout for this, no. But what that does show you is that when you're playing like a bebop situation, when you get to that 5 chord, you have a lot of options. That 9 chord, you got that. You can play really inside baseball, but then you got a lot of options to get you to that 1 chord, and it's that 5 chord in bebop where the magic happens. That's why you have so many 2-5-1 progressions, because in 2-5-1 progressions you have a 5 all the time, and you have a lot of 2-5, 2-5, 2-5 progressions. In other words, this is really common to go. So there's 2-5, 2-5, 2-5, 1 in different keys. So 2-5-1 in E flat, 2-5-1 in D flat, 2-5-1 in B major. You know. But here's the thing with a 2, when you play the 2 chord. So for example, when if we're in the key of G, we got the D9 thing. We go A minor would be the 2 chord, D7 or D9 or whatever would be the 5 chord. But technically, you can start doing the altered stuff. I think you can kind of treat the 2 chord as kind of a surrogate 5 chord. So if you want, you know, you can start. You can start that altered stuff on the 2 chord. You don't have to wait to the 5 chord, but it's a little weird. But so, all right. Woo! My brain is tired. My brain is tired. I can't imagine what your brains are like. How are your fingers? Could you wrap your hands around some of those? No. I can do that, Holly. Hold on, let's see if can I copy? I need to open a Word doc. See what this looks like in a Word doc. Of course, it's. Oh, funny. I'd have to change the style. Oh, that works. Okay. Oh, weird. Why is it different size? That's weird. Holly, are you doing it? Am I beating you? Are you faster than me? I'm going all the way back to A7, just so you know. Ooh, can I copy it? I could do that. Let's see. I have to delete. No, that didn't work. And this way I can fix any mistakes I happen to see. Oh. All right. I'll let Holly finish it. It makes for such good TV to have me just sitting here copy and pasting. Yeah. Well, and that's fine. Yeah, it's interesting, like you said, Sadie. It's interesting from a theoretical standpoint. I just kind of got there, but it's fun to be able to, like, if there's a sound you're looking for and you can't find it, sometimes it's in a genre you're not familiar with, and it might be something. Oh, I could, you know. Here's the thing: when I wrote ETA for Bieber. I'm using jazz chords. So when I did A minor, I went like A minor with a ninth, and I went to B7. I went B sharp 5 to the 7th. I'm creating a little melody. So even in pop music, I'm using jazz harmonies to create a certain. In that scenario, I was trying to kind of create a sexy vibe. So finally, a sip. Okay, more sips. I touched my face. Sorry. Let's see. Copy pasta. Yeah, that's funny. So yeah, you just never know, and you know sometimes you'll hear in songs, rock songs, you'll hear jazz harmonies sometimes without even realizing it. They're a lot of times people stumble on them and they don't know what they're doing. They're like, oh, I like the sound of this note, and that's totally fine. I think the Beatles did that almost in every song they ever wrote. It was, oh, I like the sound of this. They weren't like, well, I think I'll go to the minor 4 chord here and maybe add the 6th to create tension that leads stronger to the 1 chord. No, they weren't doing that. They went, oh, look, oh, this sounds cool. In fact, the Beatles said that. I think it was Paul and George. Was it Paul and George literally got on a bus to go across town in Liverpool because they heard that a friend of this other kid across town knew a chord they didn't know. So they would get on a bus to go learn a new chord. It's just like, and I get that. I remember being in that place where like sitting next to I remember sitting, my first session I did in LA, I'm sitting next to Mike Miller, great guitar player, played with Gino Vanelli, who's, you know, crazy good music, really complex music. And so Mike was a very good guitar player. And he plays something and I'm like, what was that? And I look at it and I said, what did you just do there? You know? And he showed me and I was like, wow, that's dope. So, you know, and I've used it many, many, many times. I mean, that's just, you know, but I totally get that Paul and Paul, and George in particular, they would literally go across town to learn a new chord. So. Yeah, no, exactly right, Sadie. Yeah, a lot of the punk players, they're throwing their hands on the guitar, and who knows what they're coming up with. I love like Teen Spirit because, you know, people played it wrong. It was like oftentimes, you know, people. Not playing he's not playing power chords. He starts out just laying his finger on the. So he's actually playing F sus to B flat major, A flat sus to D flat major. I don't know that you're hearing the third of the major chords very much, but you're definitely hearing the sus. Because he's just laying his hand down. He's like, ah. He's just laying his hands on the guitar. And instead of playing a power chord like this, he's playing it with laying his finger down. And he creates that sound. Or maybe he's playing it like that, but his pinky's laying down or something. But yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Holly. You beat me. I even deleted mine. I knew I wasn't going to win. Scroll up and see John. Jazz chords by score, no pun intended. Oh, by the score. Okay. So. Oh, John. Yeah, Holly just posted it in Discord, so you should be able to see these jazz harmonies that I talked about. But you might want to hear me describe it. I think it makes sense, right, Holly? When the way I looked at that, just digging out finding the 5 and a 9 and putting them on the top of the voicing makes it really easy to create a bunch of different altered chords. So hopefully that was ultimately what I was trying to get across on that. So. Yeah, no, the D7 in that context would be, you could play it like this, or here. I didn't include it because I needed a ninth to kind of get things going. But you're right, I could have done this and then gone to that. You know, this ninth chord is really, I think, more related to this D7 chord because of the third is here than to this D7 chord. You know, but when I see this 9 chord, I mean, I think both this and this, but yeah. So sorry, yeah. So either the D7 could be this or it could be this. Either one is fine. But with the A7, I definitely started with A7, then added the ninth, and then went from there. All right, so, oh, Holly is here. Holly, maybe on Discord we should talk about setting up doing another, because I want you there, do another Zoom. It's been a long time since we've done a Zoom, and I've seen everyone's face. So maybe we'll talk about that and set up a Zoom for, not this week, but let's do maybe something next week. What's coming up? I'm not sure, but I've been really busy. And thank you for moving to Mondays. To Tuesday from Monday today, this week. Well, I'll be back on Monday next week unless, again, something comes up. But I think we're good. I just had a ton of work, and I'm still not done, but it's all right because I don't have any more to do. I'm all caught up. I'm waiting for music to come to my way. It's all Apex Legends stuff. So you take a sip. Because that's one of the sippable offenses. And then Gary, I'll check out your song here as soon as I hang up. Okay. Yeah. Heck yes, we should do a Zoom time. Okay. So the A chords are movable. No, other way around. The D chords are completely movable. The A chords are only movable if you eliminate the root, which is the open A string, which is totally fine in jazz, Sam. Totally fine in jazz. You don't need to play the root. You got a bass player. That's what his job is. So when I'm playing jazz, if I'm playing jazz songs, you know, and it's, you know, E minor 7, I'll play something like this, and then A7, I might D major 7, I might D minor 6, then maybe a G7 to C major 7 to C minor 9th, you know, whatever. I'm not gonna have the roots on any of those chords. I can play on a 4-string guitar. I can play everything I need to know on the top 4 strings. You know, they're called drop 2 chords, and I did a whole series on that. It's one of my first series I ever did on YouTube, and the first video has quite a few views. I have a whole, but I think I did like 30 or 40 videos on it. It's crazy. I just kept going. It gave me content. The hardest thing for my job here is to create content, to figure out what I'm going to do. You know, what is my next thing going to be? What is my next series? That's like, you know, Rick Beato's just done over 100 now of what makes it sound great. I would love to do that, but I'm not a producer. He definitely thinks like a producer, some of the stuff he talks about is pretty inside baseball. I notice different things. I think more like a songwriter. So if I did what makes this song great, it would be more like, oh, this hook is what makes the song great, or check out this chord. In fact, I made an observation on his last one, and apparently got a lot of thumbs up because I really thought the chorus of the Blink-182 song that he was doing sounded like the MTV theme, bam, 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 and I felt like that was really intentional because one of the things you want to do when you're writing songs is, if you're trying to be successful anyway, if you're trying to write hits, you want to have an element of familiarity in your music. So that's why it's extremely rare, if it's ever happened. King Crimson's never had a hit. It's very rare for a song that has zero familiarity to the world is a hit. That just doesn't happen. I think of Rite of Spring, Stravinsky's Rite of Spring, and people ran out screaming, you know, because he was doing so many things in one orchestral piece that was not familiar that it freaked people out. And so, you know, if you're smart, you kind of tag you kind of tag on to current history, current music. You do something in the recent, and in the case of Blink-182, it was about a 20-year-old theme that they kind of quoted as their chorus, and it made that sound really familiar. That song sounded really familiar. So, okay, that's good to know. After 5 p.m., I don't really have a time that is better than any other, and we're limited, I think, right, Holly? Aren't we limited to like less than an hour or something? Unless I have Zoom Pro. I guess somebody else could host that has Zoom Pro, and then we could go longer. But I don't know if we need to go longer than an hour. But if somebody has Zoom Pro, we can do the link through them, and then they could launch it, start it, and everybody else could join in. Right? What did we do last time? I created the link from my Zoom account, right? And then posted it on Discord, I think is what we did. So, waiting for replies. Holly's typing as fast as she can. Because Holly, I think you have Zoom Pro, right? Catherine probably does. Yeah, Gary, I mentioned that I'm gonna as soon as I hang up, I'm almost done. I'm just waiting here. Oh, well, that would be cool of them, but I don't know how they make money if they do that. No, no, hey John, it's totally fine. I could see, I don't think it's a problem. It's 2 o'clock my time. It's not like it's midnight my time or anything like that. No, drop 2 is not the drop 2. So if you play on a piano a G major 7 chord, all in order like this, G, B, D, F sharp. On guitar it's playable, on piano it's very playable, Okay? The next voicing of this, not playable. On the guitar, it would be, you have, so you take the root up to the 3rd, you take the 3rd up to the 5th, you take the 5th up to the 7th, you take the 7th up to the root. Here is that one. Let's see if I can play it. Okay, you see that? I'm playing 9, 7, 7, 3. That's the next voicing. On piano, that's actually easier than this. This voicing is actually easier on piano. And then the next voicing is somewhat playable, but not you're not going to grab it fast. And again, that's super easy on piano, but on guitar that's impossible. Okay, you tracking with me, Sam? And then the last one, again, I got to try it here, but I got some not playable on guitar. On piano, super duper easy. So try 7th chords are super easy. So what you do, if you take this chord voicing here and we go up to the next one. If I take the 2nd note from the top and drop it down an octave, that one down an octave, I end up with this voicing. And that's a drop 2 chord. G major 7 drop 2 chord. I'm going 4, 4, 3, 3. So it's taking the 2nd voicing from the top, knock it down an octave, and then revoice it at that moment. Okay? So I'm taking this note down here. Now I can play it. Now I can play it. That's how you would play that. And the reason you take the 2nd voicing down, I could take the 1st voicing down an octave, but it would just end up as this again. So you haven't changed anything. But the other reason you take the 2nd voicing down is so that you have the top voicing. So when I do drop 2 chords in G major 7, drop 2 chords, I have 4 of them, and each of them have a different note on top. So that's great for creating melodies, chord melodies especially. So there's the 4 major seventh voicings on there. Now you also would learn them in the middle four strings. So in other words, if I were to play them on and then here, I could play it up here, but it's on an electric guitar, and on the bottom four strings. It's been a while. Where is he? Oh, there. No. How's it? Oh, that's it. Yeah. Not very common. I don't really play drop two chords on my bottom four strings very often. I might work one up or whatever, but oh, you're talking about, yeah, it's insane to try to do those voicings, you know, on the guitar. But yeah, like that one, that's just ridiculous. You could grab that one quick, but that's the same voicing essentially, but just with the drop two. So that's the origin of the drop two thing. Take the second note from the top and drop it down an octave. You don't drop two notes. So I don't know. I didn't know they were called drop two chords when I did it for years and years. Somebody else said, "Oh, that's a drop two chord." I went, "Why is it called drop two chord?" And I had to figure that out myself. So, all right. That said, I've got to get going. I got some work to do. I want to try to do a couple videos today, maybe. If I'm going to grow this channel, I've got to have some more original content. So I'm hoping to do another Beatles video soon, and some fun chords in open G2 tuning. That video is done all right. Let's see. Content. G-tuning. Well, it's almost 1,400 views. Not great. The Beatles one is at 2,900 views, which is interesting. So and it was just me talking basically. Now the Open G2 has gotten me 9 new subscribers though, so that's kind of good. 10 views in the last 48 hours, which isn't great, but isn't bad. But compare that with my most popular videos, not so much. The Beatles one has 45 views in the last 48 hours, which is not where it was, but I've gotten 18 subscribers from that one, so that's pretty cool. If I go to my analytics here, and the 7 tips for older beginners, in the last 48 hours, 7 tips for older beginners has got 3,000 views. I mean, it's just like not even close. 45 views is it's great for the Beatles thing. I'm like, oh, that's cool, but nothing compared to my #1 video. So I'm thinking about doing 7 more tips for older beginners, or 7 more tips for beginners, or something like that. I came up with 6, I thought, good tips for beginners. 6 more, so I just need a 7th, and I'm not going to say them here. But thank you. Oh, God bless you too, John. And I got to. Oh, hey, John, you're here. I'm going to ask you professional advice, okay? So my dentist, my new dentist, I had another dentist for 30 years. My new dentist says I should get a crown. All right, I'm not having any problems. There's a cavity he can't really get to, and he kind of wants to just go ahead and do a crown. And I'm not necessarily opposed to doing a crown. So but I wasn't sure. So I went to my old dentist and said, "Hey, what do you think? Do I need a crown?" And he had me bite down on this plastic thing, and he said, "Are you having any sensitivity?" I said, "No." And I purposely don't like eat hard candy. I don't chew ice. So I did, because I just don't want to. I don't want to. My parents had a lot of teeth problems, and I haven't had them, so I haven't had any major things. So, okay, so I put it off. I went back to the dentist, and I said, "Oh, by the way, I went to my old dentist, and he said I didn't really need to get it done right now." My old dentist did say, "It seems like your new dentist is preventative. My old dentist is a more of fix it when it breaks kind of guy." Which could be a pain, because if you if I bite down on something, you know, that cracks a tooth, I could need a root canal, which could be a $5,000 job. So I get that. But the funny thing was, I went to the dentist. They cleaned. They said, "Yeah, no, it's fine. You don't need to get it done if you don't want to get it done. It's not critical." And then now they said they want to do some filling, like some fills, not fillings. Maybe they meant fillings. The secretary sent a text. If I have an hour of my time, I come in and get fills on my upper right, which is the same place they want to replace. I'm like, why would I want to get fills on something that they're saying should be completely replaced anyway? The crown, put crowns on there. So that's my question. Is that like, that doesn't make sense. I literally, they are 2 doors down. So next time I walk to coffee, I can stop by the office and say, hey, what does that mean? Should I get this work done on something you're just going to tear out in a year anyway? That's kind of my question. So I don't know. Totally off point. I don't know. There's literally no way I can make this about guitar. So I try. Yeah, Sam's smiling. Sam is showing his teeth. And if I go up in viewers right now, I'll be hilarious. I'll start laughing. I'm like, okay, need to do a dentist live interview. I'm kind of tempted, John, to go back to my old dentist that I went to for years and let him do any of the work. And maybe just go ahead and start going to them. It's only like 20, 30 minutes away. You know, 20, 25 minutes away from where I live. So I figured you'd have to see. Yeah. My old dentist, he took x-rays. He didn't charge me for the consult or anything like that, but he took x-rays just to see, and he goes, yeah, I could see what they're talking about, but he goes, I'm not feeling any sensitivity, hot or cold. So your knees hurt. Well, your knees aren't going to be the only thing hurting if you don't go to the dentist. I love going to the dentist. Isn't that funny? I love getting my teeth cleaned. I don't even mind getting fillings and things like that. I actually one time forgot I had a filling appointment. I had 2 fillings, one lower and one upper, and I forgot that I had it. And they called me and like, oh shoot! And fortunately, I only lived about 15 minutes away, so I'll be there. You can do one of them now. We can do one later. And I said, well, if you don't use Novocaine, can you do them both? And he said, we have time. He said, we can try. And I said, okay. So, John, I actually got a filling without Novocaine. And it was interesting. Yeah, I don't like bus stops either. Or DMV. Thankfully, I can almost do everything I need to do at the DMV online. That's why you're broke. No, you're broke because you keep giving me money, John. Yeah, no, and you basically answered my question. I'm kind of more leaning towards, okay, if I'm actually having some sensitivity issues, then, and I'm pretty hypersensitive about my teeth. If I feel something weird, I'm like, first thing I do is I get out the floss and I go, oh, okay, it's just something stuck in there, and I pop it out and it's like, okay, that's going to hurt for a day, but then in 2 days I'll be fine. Anytime I overfloss, I feel it the next day and I think I've got some teeth problems. I went, oh, that's right. I dug in too hard with the floss. I got to go softer or whatever. So yeah, I'm aware of my teeth. And like I said, it's great to have them like literally 2 doors down. So, anyway. Oh, you were born with that wisdom teeth. I know somebody else that didn't have wisdom teeth either. Yeah. I had mine taken out when I was 21. And it cost $100, $25 a tooth back then. And I watched it. I watched him do it because he put a giant mirror up because he had a class. He had students in the room. This is my regular dentist, but for some reason he had students in the room watching them do the extraction. So, and all of them were erupted except one, John. One was not impacted, but one had a bad hook on it, one of my wisdom teeth. So when you look at it, it's got a hook, and it was pulling on a nerve. I could feel that one. Oh, yeah, I could do that, yeah. Digital copies of X-rays are pretty giant. But let me see if my old dentist will send me the one that they took. Oh, you only had 3 wisdom teeth. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, no, I had all 4. All right. What the heck are we talking about? I'm so sorry. If you're tuning in now expecting to hear guitar stuff, you see all the guitars and we're talking about teeth. It's like, I'm sorry. Go back a couple hours and you can see the whole live stream, and we talked about a lot of stuff. Anyway, God bless you all. Thank you so much for joining in. We passed 100,000. I filled out everything I think I need to do for, they're going to send me a plaque at some point, so I won't open it. I will either open it live with you all, or I will do a video. Probably I'll do a video where I talk about how I got to 100,000, what it means to me and all that stuff, and my gratitude and all that, and then I'll open the plaque. And I think that'll be a lot of fun. So, all right, let's until next Monday. So Tuesday was just a one-time thing. Hopefully, unless something comes up, Monday is planned for next week. And then maybe next week, later in the week, like Thursday or Friday, we'll do a Zoom thing. Probably Thursday, not Friday. But like 2 o'clock my time, be 5 o'clock on the East Coast. So more around dinner time, maybe just go up for an hour. So we don't need to go longer than an hour. But just be nice to see everybody, okay? All right. I'll talk to you next week, I promise. Well, y'all know I'm blind in one eye, right? So I'm almost completely blind in my good eye. So I don't have much longer. Pretty soon I'll be doing this. Like, okay, everybody, where's my guitar? Sad to say, but yeah, no, my glasses are really strong, but they're for my good eye. All right, everybody, take care. God bless you. Have fun. Have a great week.